What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're here for Week 16 NFL picks and predictions. Last week we had a pretty solid week, going 10-6. The games that we got wrong here were the Falcons upsetting Tampa. I had the Bengals over the Ravens. I had the Chiefs over the Chargers, the Packers over the Broncos, the Panthers over the Saints, and then you also had the Vikings upsetting Dallas. But overall, pretty decent week last week, I thought. Our season total is now 144, 79, and 1 on the season, bringing us to a 64.5% win rate on the year. I like to compare that every week with the number one spot on ESPN Pigskin Pick'em. There's a guy there at 164 and 59 on the season, which is a 73.5% win rate on the year, which is absolutely incredible. Let's get started here with the Rams at 11-3, at the Seahawks 11-3. 30% of people are going to the Seahawks, and so am I here on Thursday Night Football. These teams played 5 weeks ago where the Rams won 21-19 in Los Angeles. And even though in that game Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions, the Seahawks were still competitive in that game. They were a field goal away from winning that game, even with those 4 interceptions. Since losing that game, the Seahawks have been really good. They've been 4-0 in that span. And I think that this Rams defense, I think it can be exploited. There's been a lot of talk about it being a really good defense, and I think it is. But I also think it can struggle in the secondary. Last week, we saw St. Brown of the Lions with 9 catches in the first half against them, 165 total yards against this Rams secondary. And I think, with an elite receiver like Njigba, probably the best receiver in the league this season, I think the Rams are going to struggle to stop that. I also really like the Seattle front seven. I think they can stop this Rams running attack. And now you have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua questionable coming into this game. It's the second consecutive game for the Seattle Seahawks at home. Give me the Seattle Seahawks to win this game 24-20. My confidence level for this game is a 6 out of 10. Then we have the Eagles at 9-5, at the Commanders 4-10. Give me 90% of people picking the Eagles here. The Commanders, they're on an 8-game losing streak before beating the Giants last week. How are the Commanders able to beat them last week? They were able to kind of run the ball. Mariota and Krosky Merritt kind of getting the run game going. But I don't see them doing that in this game against the Eagles, against this Eagles defensive line that's been a really good unit all season long. At the same time, though, I think this Eagles team is kind of tough to trust. They lost 3 of their last 4 games. Offensively, they haven't been great. Saquon hasn't been all that involved. He's definitely been a shell of himself compared to last season. But you're looking at the Commanders. I mean, they've really kind of had a big fall from grace after making the NFC Championship game last year. Now Jaden Daniels is shut down for the year. So we're going to get Marcus Mariota in this game. Give me the Eagles to win this game 21-10. My confidence level being at an 8 out of 10. Then we have the Packers at 9-4-1, at the Bears 10-4. Give me the Bears with 44% of people picking this game for the Bears side. To me, what you have to immediately mention about this game is the injuries for the Packers. That's what everybody's going to be talking about. Parsons being out, Watson out. In the game that the Packers played against the Bears 2 weeks ago that they won, Watson was a big part of that game, snagging 2 touchdowns in that game. So I think the Packers definitely lose a deep threat that they're going to need moving forward. Parsons is definitely, a piece you're going to be missing. He's a disruptive player, even when he's not getting sacks. So I think these Green Bay corners, the secondary of Green Bay, I think is going to struggle. Quarterbacks are going to have more time to throw. So I think they're going to be exposed a little bit here in the upcoming weeks. But the Bears, I mean, they're a great team right now. They're just winning the turnover battle. They lead the league with 30 takeaways. They have an offensive coach, to me, who can make a lot of adjustments mid-game even. I think they're able to run the ball with Swift, who I think is one of the better running backs in this league. They're a physical team. They're comfortable in the cold weather. And this is the second consecutive home game for the Bears here, second consecutive away game for the Packers. So give me the Bears to win this game 26-22 with my confidence level being at a 6 out of 10. Next game here we have the Buccaneers at 7-7, at the Panthers 7-7. Big game here in the NFC South. I'm going to side with 70% of people picking the Buccaneers here. The Buccaneers, though, they've lost 5 of their last 6 games. The Panthers, they've been a tough team to pick. They've beaten the Rams and the Packers this season, but they've also been swept by the Saints. You're looking at the Bucks. They started the season 5-1. They're 7-7 now. I think Todd Bowles is kind of under a lot of fire right now. He's on the hot seat, and this Bucks defense really has not been good, especially as of late, the past few weeks. I think there's a lot that can still happen here in the final 3 weeks of the season in this division, but with little confidence, you have to give me the Bucks to win this game. Besides Dowdle and Hubbard, I don't think there's a lot of talent on this Panthers offense. And I think the Buccaneers, they've gotten a lot healthier. They've gotten a lot of their skill players back, like Godwin, like Bucky, like Evans. So those guys are coming back now for a second, third consecutive week. I think that makes a difference in this game. I think the Bucks win this game 28-23 in Carolina, which is not an easy place to play. But the Bucks do have 3 days rest on the Panthers, which I think is a big advantage. Give me them to win this game with a confidence level of a 6 out of 10. Then we have the Jaguars at 10-4, at the Broncos 12-2. Give me 86% of people picking the Broncos. Obviously, two teams here leading their divisions. People, I think, are high on the Jaguars right now because they won their last 5 games. Trevor Lawrence had 6 total touchdowns last week. But to me, the Jaguars have had a relatively light schedule these past 4 weeks. And the Broncos, they've won their last 11 games. They've been impressive. Bo Nix probably had the best game of his young career last week versus Green Bay, throwing 4 touchdowns in that game. But ultimately, I think the Broncos defense wins them this game. The Broncos, they have one of the better secondaries in the NFL. I think they can get after the quarterback as good as any NFL team as well. And I think they have a lot of young emerging stars on this defense, like guys like Hufanga. The Broncos, they also have not lost at home this season. They're going to be here in Denver at Mile High Stadium. I think the Broncos, they force at least a couple turnovers a game. I think they do that here against Trevor Lawrence and this Jaguars offense. I'm going to side with the Sean Payton-led squad here, 31-26, with my confidence level being a 7 out of 10. Then we have the Patriots at 11-3, at the Ravens 7-7. Give me the Ravens with 44% of people picking them. Obviously, a very important game for both of these teams. The Bills are on the Patriots' heels in the AFC East, and in the Ravens division, it's their division to win, with the Steelers playing the Lions this week and then them playing the Ravens in Week 18. To me, though, I don't want to be too high on the Ravens coming off this past week against the Bengals, where they shut out the Bengals and won that game in Cincinnati. I was impressed with that game. I thought Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, looked as good as they've looked all season long. This Patriots defense, I also think it can be exploited. I do like guys like Christian Gonzalez on that defense, but we've also seen good quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield, like Josh Allen, kind of have success on this Patriots defense. I do obviously think Drake May keeps the Patriots in any game he's in this season, but to me it kind of feels like the Ravens are back. This kind of feels like a Ravens moment to me. Give me the Ravens 35-28 with my confidence level being a 7 out of 10 because I think the Ravens really, really need this. Then we have the Chargers at 10-4, at the Cowboys 6-7-1. Give me the Chargers with 70% of people picking this game on their side. I think the Chargers' pass defense is one of the best in the league. I think they're going to limit Dak in this game. The Chargers are 6-1 in one-score games this season, so they've been good when it's close. They still are in contention here to win the AFC West title. Obviously, Denver's in first place, but they're chasing them right now. I think the Chargers win here 24-19. The Cowboys are virtually eliminated from playoff contention. They had a really disappointing loss last week versus the Vikings. Their defense has been bad all season long. I do worry a little bit about this Chargers offensive line because I think it's one of the worst in the league, but nonetheless, my confidence level is at a 7 out of 10 for the Chargers to win this game with 70% of people picking it. Then we have the Chiefs at 6-8, at the Titans 2-12. Give me the Titans with 16% of people picking them. I like this upset here. I think the Chiefs, they're eliminated from playoff contention. There's no Mahomes. And once again, I don't necessarily believe in tanking, but at the same time, I don't think the Chiefs really have any motivation to win this game. I think a loss only benefits them here on the road in Tennessee. I think the more losses the Chiefs stack here, the better they are in the offseason, moving into the offseason, Because you have to think about it. I mean, when was the last time the Chiefs kind of had, valuable draft picks moving forward? So I think there really should be no motivation for the Chiefs to win this game. The Titans have quietly been putting up some numbers against teams like the Seahawks, the Browns, the 49ers. I think Tony Pollard is a decent back, a good back in this league. Cam Ward, I think, has played better the last 2 weeks as well. So give me the Tennessee Titans to upset here 20-17. My confidence level being actually at a 7 out of 10. Um, but yeah, you got to pick some upsets here. So give me the Titans to win there. Then we have the Bills at 10-4 at the Browns 3-11. 97% of people picking the Bills here. This is going to be a cold weather game here, forecasted in the low 30s. The Browns defense has been a pretty good unit all season long, but at this point, I kind of feel like they're running out of fight here late in the season. The Browns, they've given up a lot of, rushing yards on the ground as of late, to guys like Swift, to guys like Pollard. I think James Cook in this game is going to have a big day for the Bills. The Bills, here's an impressive stat for you. They've won 13 straight games in December/January. I think they continue that here. The Bills win this game 28-14. My confidence level being a 9 out of 10. Then we have the Jets at 3-11 at the Saints 4-10. Give me 62% of people picking the Saints. The Saints are coming off of back-to-back division upsets on the Panthers, who they swept this season, and the Buccaneers. I think that Shook has looked decent. He's also, I think, a running threat, which not a lot of people realize. We saw that, quite a bit versus the Bucs in that game. I think the Saints also have a pretty decent run stop at times. And I just don't think Brady Cook is a very good quarterback for the Jets, probably one of the worst starting quarterbacks in this league, throwing 5 interceptions in the last 2 games. Give me the Saints to win this game at home, where they have a nice home field advantage, 17-15, my confidence level being a 7 out of 10. Then we have the Bengals at 4-10 at the Dolphins 6-8. Give me the Dolphins with 34% of people picking that. Both teams really with not a lot to play for here, but I think at least in this matchup, Mike McDaniel and Tua just have more to prove here. I think Miami has a nice home field advantage in this spot as well. I just think the Bengals staff here, Zach Taylor, I think they're all kind of on borrowed time, even potentially Burrow here in Cincinnati. So we just have to see what's going to happen here moving forward. I almost wouldn't even be surprised if Burrow gets shut down for the rest of the season. So let's wait until the end of the week to see this game. I think it's still a little bit early, but give me the Dolphins. Then we have the Steelers at 8-6 at the Lions 8-6. A great game here. 90% of people picking the Lions. I think this is a very important game for both teams because the Ravens are on the Steelers' heels in the AFC North. You have the Lions, who are in third place in the NFC North. This game, you really can't trust either of these teams' defenses. They haven't been great on defense, all season long pretty much. But I'm going to take the Lions here and Goff to score more points in this game than Rodgers and the Steelers at home. We saw St. Brown, like I said earlier, go off for 165 yards against the Rams secondary. I think they can do some damage here against the Steelers defense. Give me the Lions to win this one in kind of a high-scoring affair, 34-24. Then we have the Raiders at 2-12 with the Texans 9-5. Give me 96% of people picking the Texans. I think the Raiders have a chance to win next week at home versus the Giants, but against the best defense in the league, I really don't see how they win this game with Kenny Pickett and Gentee. I just don't think they're going to be able to put up enough points. The Raiders, they were shut out last week versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that for the Texans, C.J. Stroud has played better the last couple of weeks. I think their offensive line is doing a better job of protecting him. I think the Texans win this game 27-6, my confidence level being a 9 out of 10. Then we have the Falcons at 5-9 at the Cardinals 3-11. Give me the Falcons with 58% of people picking them. The Falcons, they have 3 days rest on the Cardinals, but obviously this game is going to be in Arizona. I think Jacoby Brissett for the Cardinals has been serviceable, but I think he's taken a lot of hits in recent weeks. I wonder here on the health report of Marvin Harrison Jr. and Drake London, 2 important pieces for both teams here coming into this game, so we have to keep an eye out for that. But I feel like the Falcons are just the safer pick here. They're the better, they have the better skill players, I should say. I think the Falcons win this game 19-12, my confidence level being a 7 out of 10. Then we have the Vikings at 6-8 at the Giants 2-12. give me 83% of people picking the Vikings. I'll reluctantly take the Vikings. They're coming off of back-to-back wins with J.J. McCarthy playing well in those games. I think you have to give a lot of credit to Kevin O'Connell, who I think is one of the better coaches in the NFL, especially working with quarterbacks as a former quarterback himself. And we just keep on seeing Jackson Dart for the Giants going into the blue tent all the time. So who knows if he's even going to be starting for this game for the Giants. I think the Giants really only benefit from losing here, just getting a higher draft spot. Give me the Vikings to win this game 26-19, my confidence level being an 8 out of 10. Then we have the 49ers at 10-4 at the Colts 8-6. Give me the Colts with 22% of people picking them. Kind of a homer pick here. I love Phillip Rivers. He was my childhood quarterback growing up. But I think, seriously, the Colts do have a chance here with Rivers. I think he's only going to get better as the weeks progress. I think the Colts have found a little bit of a new energy with Rivers in the building. I know the 49ers are rolling, though. Purdy's playing some pretty good football. The 49ers obviously need this game as well because the Seahawks and the Rams are 11-3 in that division. But my homer pick is just saying Rivers here and the Colts in Indianapolis, where I think there's going to be a great home field advantage here in Indy. So thank you guys for watching. Those are my picks, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.